They say history is written by the victors. But what if some parts of US history were never meant to be read at all? For the next 10 days, I decided to dive deep, exploring archives, declassified papers, and forgotten stories to uncover the hidden side of American history. And believe me, Day 4's fact about Abraham Lincoln blew my mind. This is 10 days of reading hidden US history facts. Let's get to the video. Day 1. The CIA's Mind Control Experiments, MK Ultra. My first day began with a file so unbelievable, it sounded like a movie plot. In the early 1950s, the CIA secretly launched Project MK Ultra, an experiment in mind control. They tested LSD and hypnosis on unsuspecting people, prisoners, students, even random citizens, to see if they could control human behavior. One man, Frank Olson, a U.S. Army scientist, mysteriously fell from a 13th floor window after being secretly dosed with LSD. His family later discovered he might have been silenced. For decades, the government denied it until documents surfaced in the 1970s. Reading that, I realized sometimes the truth hides in plain sight inside the government's own archives. Day 2. The Lost Colony of Roanoke. On the second day, I traveled further back, to 1587. An English colony mysteriously vanished from Roanoke Island, leaving behind a single word carved into a tree: Croatoan. No bodies, no weapons, no clues, just silence. To this day, no one knows what happened to those 115 settlers. Some historians believe they merged with local tribes. Others think something darker happened, a massacre, or perhaps a failed ritual. What chills me most isn't the mystery itself, but how it quietly became the first unsolved disappearance in American history. Day 3. The government's secret weather experiments. Day 3 led me to something bizarre and eerily relevant today. In the 1940s and 1950s, U.S. military scientists actually experimented with controlling the weather. It was called Project Cirrus, attempts to seed clouds and manipulate storms. But that's not all. During Operation Popeye in the Vietnam War, the U.S. military literally used weather modification, making monsoon rains heavier to disrupt enemy supply routes. Yes, the United States once weaponized rain. It's the kind of fact you'd expect in science fiction, except it's completely real. Day 4. Abraham Lincoln's dream of his own death. Day 4's discovery shook me deeply. A week before his assassination, President Abraham Lincoln told his friends about a dream. In the dream, he walked through the White House, hearing the sound of sobbing. When he reached the East Room, he saw a coffin guarded by soldiers. He asked, "Who is dead in the White House?" A soldier replied, "The president. He was killed by an assassin." A few days later, John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln at Ford's Theater. Historians often debate the story, but Lincoln's friend Ward Hill Lamon documented it in chilling detail. Coincidence or prophecy? It's one of those mysteries that time refuses to erase. Day 5. The secret city that built the atomic bomb. By day 5, I found myself reading about a place that didn't officially exist: Oak Ridge, Tennessee. During World War II, it was a secret city built for one purpose: to develop the atomic bomb. Over 75,000 people lived there, but most didn't know what they were working on. Their mail was censored. Their conversations were monitored. The city didn't appear on any maps. Only after the Hiroshima bombing did the truth come out that Oak Ridge was part of the Manhattan Project, one of the most secretive operations in human history. Imagine living your whole life in a town that the government denied even existed. Day 6. The disappearance of the USS Cyclops. Day 6 was straight out of a ghost story. In March 1918, the USS Cyclops, a massive Navy cargo ship carrying 309 men, vanished without a trace in the Bermuda Triangle. No SOS, no wreckage, no survivors. The largest non-combat loss of life in U.S. naval history, and the mystery was never solved. The ship was carrying tons of manganese ore, but there were whispers of espionage, mutiny, even a portal-like phenomenon in that region. The official report? Cause unknown. Somehow, that makes it even scarier. Day 7. The Forgotten Slave Revolt of 1811. On the 7th day, I read about something schools rarely teach, the 1811 German Coast Uprising in Louisiana. Hundreds of enslaved Africans rose up against their masters, marching towards New Orleans in the largest slave rebellion in U.S. history. But history books gave it barely a paragraph. After being brutally suppressed, the rebels' heads were displayed on spikes along the Mississippi River. Learning that, I realized how many stories of courage and resistance are buried under silence, erased not by time, but by choice. Day 8. The Mysterious Death of Meriwether Lewis. Day 8 was haunting. Meriwether Lewis, the famous explorer from the Lewis and Clark expedition, was found dead in 1809 at a remote inn. The official story says suicide, but the evidence doesn't fit. 2 gunshots, one to the head, one to the chest. No suicide note, and witnesses reported seeing strangers near his cabin days before. His body was buried without a proper investigation. Even today, historians remain divided: suicide or assassination. Sometimes even heroes of history meet ends that raise more questions than answers. Day 9. The U.S. government's secret medical experiments. By day 9, I thought nothing could shock me anymore, until I stumbled on the Tuskegee syphilis study. From 1932 to 1972, hundreds of African American men were deliberately left untreated for syphilis, just so scientists could observe how the disease progressed. Even after penicillin became available, the men were not informed or treated. The truth came out only after a whistleblower leaked the story to the press. It wasn't just unethical, it was evil disguised as science. And it's one of the darkest stains on American medical history. Day 10. The Vanishing of Flight 19. On the final day, I circled back to the sea, and another Bermuda Triangle enigma. In December 1945, 5 U.S. Navy bombers, known as Flight 19, disappeared during a routine training mission. They radioed in, confused, saying their compasses were spinning uncontrollably. Then, silence. A rescue plane was sent after them. It vanished too. To this day, no wreckage has ever been found. The official explanation blames navigation errors, but the eerie radio transcript suggests something much stranger. Whatever happened that day, it remains one of the most chilling aviation mysteries in U.S. history. 10 days. 10 hidden stories that changed how I see America's past. From secret mind control projects to mysterious deaths, and from erased rebellions to vanished ships, I learned one thing above all. History isn't just what's written in textbooks, it's also what's conveniently forgotten. And the more you read, the more you realize truth doesn't just hide in the shadows. Sometimes it's buried right beneath the pages of history itself. Soft fade-out music begins. If you found these hidden stories as fascinating as I did, make sure to follow for part 2. Because there are still hundreds of secrets waiting to be uncovered.